Sexual abuse at the hands of a relative or family member is the most underreported form of violence in the world. And it's not because people don't know. It's because those who do often choose silence. Sexual abuse and the silence that deepens the harm crosses ethnicity, it crosses income, it crosses race and religion, and silence is a pipeline for sexual abuse through generations. It's an uncomfortable truth. It's a truth I know well. It's a truth that became ours because it's a truth that happened to us. How it unfolded, how it was discovered, could have been plucked from the pages from a Hollywood script. But it wasn't. It's my life and millions of others around the world. There are no actors. There's no director yelling cut. But it did start as a picture-perfect day. The sun was shining. The birds were chirping. It was the perfect day for a party, and we were having one. A celebration. A baby shower. And it was almost as if everyone in the world were celebrating with us because we had been locked down because of the pandemic. So it was almost a reunion and a baby shower. And I was in charge of the cake. Before you even could get into the venue, you could hear the laughter. You could hear people conversing and laughing. You could hear kids running and their parents yelling at them. I knew this was going to be a good time. There's a doorway with balloons, and you walk through it, and every flat surface has flowers and confetti. And I got the cake. I see my destination. It's the dessert table at the back of the room, and they left a nice little opening for the cake to slide right in. I'm smiling at people having small conversations because I know once I drop the cake off, I'll come back and mingle. Headed to my destination because I have a plan. As I'm walking to the back, my stride is suddenly interrupted. I take a second to look down, and I see the most beautiful, olive-skinned, brown, curly-haired toddler that you'll ever see. One arm wrapped around my leg, and the other slowly taking out her pacifier because she has to tell me something. So I lean down for her to get a better look because I can't make out a lot of the words, but I can make out cake. She sees it, I see her, and I am met with the biggest, most beautiful pair of brown eyes I have ever seen on a human that small. So much so, I comment and say, "Whose adult eyes did you steal?" I promise her a piece of cake later, and I keep moving. Walking to the dessert table. On my way there, I'm stopped again. This time I take a second and look down, and nothing's there. I realize that nothing outside of me has stopped my progression. It was my thought. It clicked to me in that moment where I knew those eyes. Those are my brother's eyes. Those are my brother's eyes. The problem is that toddler belongs to my brother's underage stepdaughter. I'm stuck in this moment. I know those eyes, and they shouldn't be there. As I stand there, I feel the thought drop from my head to my heart and slowly start to take up the space in my lungs so much that I can't take a deep breath. It's almost as if the room is closing in. Everything about my upper body is becoming stiff. As my upper body's becoming stiff, my legs become so weak and rubbery that I think I'm gonna fall and hit the floor. But I realize if I do, the top of me will shatter in pieces and the bottom of me will ooze through the floorboards to the basement. I'll never be put back together to understand where I stand in this moment with that little baby having my brother's eyes. Something has to give. There is no sound. There is no smell. There is no light. There is no sight. I imagine that in this moment, this is what dying feels like. You're left with your last thought, and everything you thought existed before this moment no longer does. The family I thought I knew is gone. The brother I thought I had, no. I'm not planned or prepared for this moment. I'm frozen in fear. Fear that my thought is correct. He's going to have to tell me. He's going to have to tell me that what I saw isn't true. He's going to have to say, don't believe your lying eyes. He couldn't. I confronted him. He confessed. I thought there would be some calmness, but there was not. The confession brought chaos because there were believers and non-believers, and with the chaos came the chase. Law enforcement chasing him and me chasing answers. How? Why? When? Who knew? Am I the only one who saw this? Are there others? I got on the phone, voice calls, text messages, DMs, emails, because I'm lost. The phone calls started to come back. And when they did, it wasn't what I thought. I thought we were going to have a kumbaya, loving, come together moment that we can work through this. It was not that. The first set of phone calls I received were from women in my life who proceeded to tell me that I'm a homewrecker. How dare I break up a family? I coined a term for these ladies in my life. I call them silencers or suppressors. These are women who have either been abused or not been abused, but their take on abuse is you shut up about it. We keep moving. It might have happened to me and I'm okay. I call them silencers or suppressors for a very specific reason. If you put a silencer or a suppressor on a gun and fire it, you don't know where that bullet's coming from, so you don't have a chance to avoid that injury. That trauma is going to happen to you. And then the people who could help you don't have a chance to react to the sound first. You have to have the trauma for us to help you. We have to be better. The next set of calls came from victims. There were more alleged victims from my brother, more alleged victims from other people, but there were also at every level and every generation silencers that accompanied these abusers. Dare I say that the silence causes more harm than the actual abuse? We got a phone call from Vanessa, who's a family member, and Vanessa had heard that I was receiving these phone calls and listening to victims. And her response was, I just want to be heard. Vanessa recounted a time when the abuse started to her. She said she remembered exactly when it was because she had just learned how to count by fives. That's kindergarten to first grade. Vanessa says she remembers it because she knew when she would come home that by the time she counted to 65, the abuse would stop. Vanessa started going to school begging teachers to teach her new math lessons because when she came home and told people that the abuse was happening to her, she was told to shut up. You're making that up. That's not really happening. You're not understanding what's really going on. Vanessa said she would go to school and ask the teacher, when are we going to learn a new math lesson? Because in Vanessa's mind, once she got past counting by fives, he would get past abusing her. The abuse didn't stop until Vanessa learned algebra. Vanessa's doing better now. Vanessa doesn't want to cause any issues with her abuser or the silencers. So she is happy with how things are right now. Vanessa asked me a question about this TEDx talk and TEDx Lakeshore Drive, and she said, would I, knowing what I know now, that the silencers considered me a homewrecker, that I had been uninvited from family functions, I am basically building a new family on my own. Vanessa asked if I would do the same thing over again. And I told her yes, 100%. Because what we have now is dealing with adults who were traumatized as children. If we can stop silencers, we can help those children become non-traumatized adults. People say this is courageous. I didn't believe that for a very long time. Courage costs something. Courage cost me family. It cost me relationships. It cost me having to condemn a brother who I love dearly. But I'm never going to be silent. My desire today is that we create a place for women where we don't have to be silent anymore, where we don't have to suppress each other anymore, and that we can remember that at one point in all of our lives, we were that one-year-old toddler holding onto someone's leg, removing a pacifier. We were that kindergartner, that first grader learning how to count by fives, excited to come home. We were that seventh grader scared of algebra, figuring out, do I really know how to do this, and switching classes. We should not have to add trauma on top of life. Let's be loud together.